Hello and welcome to this short video showing you how you can use the joins function to help you with things like bird survey layers. I'm sure it has many other applications. This is the way that I found was dead handy to use it with. So as you can see here, I've got a example bird survey. It's a bit daft. I doubt the real life is much like this, but this is actually the Houses of Parliament, and that's the River Thames. So we've got some birds on the lake over here, we've got some water birds on the river, and we've got a bunch of passerines in the Houses of Parliament themselves. I've not spent ages on it, but it's just to show the principle. So what we're going to do, if we look at the attributes table for this, currently we've got the code, which has just been written in, the number, the notes, and other information. But what we'd like, I think, from the joins layer is from the code to have the common name, the scientific name, maybe whether it's a priority species or a Schedule 1 species would be useful too. So in order to do that, I have made a CSV layer just in Excel, which has got all the BTO codes with all the corresponding scientific names, common names, BOCC, priority species status, and whether it's Schedule 1 or not. So we're going to pop that into QGIS with layer, add layer, add deleted text layer, there we are. So we open this up, and then comma separated values. We want to click this so it has no geometry, and the first record has field name, so that's all set up fine. Add, and there we go. So what we want is information from this layer to join up with the information of that layer. The process is actually quite simple, so we'll double click on bird survey layer. There's the joins function there. Click on the little green arrow, choose bird species codes, which is the layer we've just inputted. The join field is the code, and the target field is also the code. So those are just saying what is the same thing in the bird survey layer and the bird species codes layer that I know these things join up on. Okay, and then now when we look at our bird survey layer, got all these extra columns, so that's cool. You'll notice my yellow hammer is incorrect, but that's on purpose because I wanted to show you it updates. So yellow hammer I think is actually just a Y and a full stop. So if we click that off, bring it back up again, you can see it's updated. So it's not that you do it once and then you have to do it again if there's any changes. It updates itself, which is fantastic. What can we do with this information? So what can we do with this information? We can put it into an attribute table within our composer layout. So we've got an automatically generating key between the BTO codes and the common species names, for example. So let's click on Layout Manager, just create a new one. There we go, and then we'll click on this icon at the bottom, which is an attribute table. Draw roughly where we want it to be, and nothing exciting happens because we've not told it what we want it to be yet. So in the main properties dialog, we're going to click on Layer. Bird survey layer 3 is the one we want. It's put in everything, not really that we want it, but we can change that in the attributes. So we'll do that now. All we want it to show is the code the scientific name and the common name. So let's get rid of everything that isn't those. Actually, should we keep in the BOCC and the priority species and all that? Let's keep that, but we'll get rid of these. So there we've got that, and also we can choose which of our columns is the one, you know, that decides the alphabetical order or the number order or whatever. So code ascending plus will mean that the table that we have is sorted by in alphabetical order by the code. We can also change the heading names here, which is useful because these look a little bit faffy. You don't need species codes underscore scientific name, you just want scientific name. So okay, and then maximum rows, I always stick that up really high because I don't want it to chop off any useful information at the bottom. But another useful thing to have is the remove duplicate rows from table, because we only need to tell you once that it's a mallard. We don't need it every single time. So there we go. That's sorted out our table quite nicely. The other things you can tick, you can change the line widths. You can make it all look nicer or whatever. Change all the heading. You can change the heading font as opposed to the main text fonts. You can have the heading in bold if you want. Yeah. I was actually looking on here. There is a tick box somewhere on here. Only show features visible in the map. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So if you decide to show only this bit of the plan, it'll chop out the birds which aren't in that plan. Just do that for you, which is fantastic. So that's a useful feature you can generate from this join. And I hope you found that very useful. As I always say, if this is all for free, if you find it useful in your professional life, then please make a donation to either the QGIS group so they can keep making this wonderful free software, or your local wildlife charity, because, you know, that's why we're all here in the first place. As a little addition, I mean, you can switch off here, but as a little 5-minute addition, I thought I'd do some SQL with your bird survey layer, because I think that's a really useful thing to do. It can save faffing around in Excel a bit. So with our layer, we're going to have, we'll go into Database Manager and then click on these tabs and then on the little spanner to get the SQL window up. In order I can remember what to do, I'm going to have, let's drag up the attribute table and make it so I can see what the column names are. And then we're going to write a little code that will provide a neat summary table of what we had. So first up, we're going to select, because all SQL queries seem to start with select. The first column that we're going to want is going to be the code, so double brackets, code, comma. Then I'm going to want a column that shows the number of times each bird species has been seen. And we're going to use the count function, and count brackets star close brackets will count every time that our layer, for example, MA turns up. So it should come up with 1, 2, 3 as total observations. Let's stick that in single quotation marks. Then I don't just want to know how many times it's been seen, I want to know the total number of birds that have been seen. So we're going to do sum and then number, and then one should be called total. I can type total birds seen, for example. I remember to put a comma on one before. And then we'll say, need to tell it which layer we're doing that from. So it's from the inelegantly named bird survey layer 3. And then group by code. And then let's just see that works before we try and do anything fancier. Marvellous. So that's quite good, but it would also be nice to have the common name, scientific name in there, and it would be nice to maybe have the total of birds seen take into account what activity they were observed doing. So under code, we can put again inelegantly named bird species codes underscore scientific name as scientific name, comma, and then bird, I'll type in species codes underscore common name as common name. Just make sure that's worked. Lovely stuff. And looking at the table, actually, I want those the other way around. So that's easily done. So next up is the slightly more complicated one. We want to do a count showing the total number of birds seen per activity type. I'm sure you all know how to do that in Excel, but it is also easy to do. So you can do sum. I'm going to do a little case when. And then when the column notes equals the string, do alarm call first. Alarm call, then we want it to sum the column number, else 0 end, because that's how case when functions operate. Then close the brackets and give it a title as total alarm calls. Need to remember to put a comma there. And it hasn't worked. What have I done wrong? Near from. I've put a comma in at the end when I shouldn't have done. There we go. So now we've got the total number of alarm calling blue tits in the House of Commons is 50, but that isn't the total number of birds seen, because if we look down our list, yeah, there's one blue tip calling elsewhere. Then to round off the table, I mean, I think you just simply copy and paste constantly get wrong where the comma is on the final line, but copy and paste so it covered each of the notes that you've made. But then once you have this table, firstly, it's very quick. I mean, normally we've got several bird layers to go through. All you'd have to do that on another layer is change the layer that it's looking at, which is as simple as that once you've got it set up. And nobody does this from scratch each time. You get a query that you know works, and then save it as bird survey query here, and then you can just pull it up from your drop-down list that it creates. I also like to make a backup of this. I copy and paste useful things and then save them in a text file or something like that. And then another cool thing that this does, if I can get it to show, is once you have this table of results, you can save that as a layer in your QGIS project. So I just think that's a really good thing to do. So you're not having to do it again if, for example, you're looking at your table in your report and you've noticed an error and you think, where's that come from? You can see exactly what was done previously by ticking on load as new layer, give it a name, and load. Oh dear. Oh, because I changed the layer and it doesn't exist. There we go. Bird survey results. Load. And then you've got your results. And if you click on the attribute table of that, it brings up the results of the query that you performed. So yeah, that's everything for that. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching, and speak to you soon.